안녕하세요. This morning, we sent off some Naksan Tower postcards from the day before and we're headed off to our first stop. Now that we can ride buses normally without hiccups, if you don't know what I mean, watch video 2 about Seoul series. Here's a travel tip. By using Naver Maps, it's actually possible to track the arrival of your particular bus number, including where their deployed buses currently are between stations. It turned out to be crazily accurate. Could it be that all the South Korean buses have pre-installed GPS systems, just so that they can ping their locations at regular intervals? Sounds like a great idea. Riding buses in Seoul is straightforward. There's no need to hail them down as buses will pull up if that station is on their scheduled route. Though you do have to look like you're going to get on and not look like you're just hanging around the bus stop. We've had a green bus pass on us before. Stops are notified ahead in Korean, English, and Japanese. When you get on, simply tap your T-Money card, and when you get off, just tap your T-Money card again. Otherwise, you have to pay in notes and coins. In fact, you learn a lot from watching how the locals do it. For example, these ladies have already gotten up one stop before and tapped their card at the exit machine, so that Mr. Bus Driver R2C knows that they want to get off at the next one. And why would you not want to ride a bus? There's obviously so much more to see than riding in a subway. It's cheaper than any tourist hop-on hop-off and gives you the flexibility to get off and change routes midway if you wanted to. The downside to it, of course, is that public buses will not stop at all the typical tourist destinations, so you have to figure out the ones that do.
Got me feeling loved, even though I hold us up. Let me know if you ever think that I am being too much.
Here we are again at the very same chicken han mali place that we were at the day before. Oppa loved the atmosphere and the people watching at this location so much that we came back here again. And it doesn't hurt that the food's on his diet. Since we wanted the same window seat as before, we came just as the restaurant opened, since this one fills up pretty quickly. In Seoul, it's usual for the same kind of restaurants to congregate in an alley or area, so if you're having difficulty finding empty tables in a particular restaurant, you can always hop into the next one, which probably is just as good. Next door is also the grilled fish restaurant alley, which will be interesting to explore the next time we return.
이런 기분 설명할 수 없어 원래 이맘쯤 너와의 여행을 생각했었는데
After lunch, we're headed towards Ihwa village in Ihwa-dong, one of the oldest neighborhoods in Seoul, just by Mount Naksan. This area is known for its street art, which came about when the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism started a project in 2006 with local artists to rehabilitate the village. If you're visiting, just be mindful that this village is still home to residents and don't do what you wouldn't do in someone else's house. Because Chip's back was not feeling too good that morning, we couldn't explore too much of the village since that would have involved climbing staircases. We did, however, stumble on Naksan's park's entrance by following this pretty tree-lined road.
내 맘과 다르게 너에게 상처를 줬으니 사랑한다는 말로도 부족했던 너에게 내가 너무 잘못한 것 같아 너와 나의 다른 생각이 결국엔 우리를 서로 갈라서게 만들었어 근데 왜 이런 얘기를
Naksan Park also houses its own gallery, exhibiting the history of the mountain and how urban development almost destroyed it. Fortunately, the city was able to reclaim back the mountain's natural flora, but this was only by demolishing the shanties and apartments that used to occupy the slopes.
View.
Steps all the way down.
Is it? Oh.
Ihwa nowadays is also home to several cafes and art galleries, and we stopped in at one of them for a bubble tea and beer break while enjoying a different view of Seoul, one with other people's laundry. If you're geeky like me, be sure to stop by one of the many museums in Seoul. Many of them are free to visit. This one we were at had exhibits on how the city of Seoul developed from its Joseon era into its present day. It's divided into 4 zones featuring Seoul during the Joseon dynasty, Seoul during the Korean Empire, Seoul under Japanese control, and Seoul as the capital of the Republic of Korea. And it can be fun to try figuring out where you've been so far in Seoul based on the displays and maps. For example, this street here, known as Yukjo-gyori, used to have Joseon Dynasty's 6 important ministries lining it. Today, this is Gwanghwamun Square where the statues of King Sejong and Admiral Yi Sun-shin stands. Remember the tree-lined road and stone walls that we walked along before? That's the area where Western legations were constructed during the Korean Empire. Cheonggyecheon River? That's them in 2003 removing the expressway which used to run over and parallel to it. Subway lines? Did you know that when the first line was built, it had very low usage? Anyway, there was a lot to see and a lot to marvel over, considering how much the South Koreans had to rebuild after the economic exploitation of the Japanese and the devastation of the Korean War. The few decades from the 1960s onwards were filled with aggressive state-led economic development, fueled by the blood, sweat, and tears of its citizens. Because of how rapidly and successfully the country was in transforming itself from one of the poorest nations in the world to a developed country on par with that of Western nations, this entire period of economic growth after the Korean War is referred to today as the miracle of the Han River. By the time the late 80s came around, Seoul was ready for the world. Reflection of Seoul. I was born. We were there yesterday, Naksan. Tomorrow we'll be there. Well, not exactly Naksan, but south of. Anyway, if you'd like to see my other video clips of the museum that never made it into this video, click the link in the description below. We ended our evening at this restaurant that specializes in cooking thick slices of already pre-grilled pork. Though oddly, this place had a policy of requiring you to order at least one food item in your first order. Honestly, we weren't quite happy that we couldn't at least order a cold beer to start with, considering how stuffy it was inside the restaurant cause, you know, they don't turn on the air conditioning during these cold months. I thought the food tasted good, but poor Oppa had a tummy upset afterwards.